my grandfather taught me. And my grandfather only had eighth grade, and he was from Puerto Rico, born and raised, and he was a businessman on his own. And what he did, he taught me that success equal desire and opportunity. But listen to this. You can have all the desire you want, a lot of desire, but you don't get an opportunity. What's happening? You can be successful. So you need that opportunity. And what do? You sit down and wait for it? My grandfather said, no, you make it. And that is the difference between coming with different heritage or generational gaps in how we think things. And for me, I think that I will create my own opportunity. So success equal opportunity and desire. Making that desire stay even through resiliency, and then multiply by motivation. And if you're motivated and you have the desire and you can create that opportunity, you will be successful. So that is my formula.
Hey, let's welcome my guest, Dr. Irene Zoppi, retired U.S. Army Brigadier General and the first Puerto Rican female to earn this title in the U.S. Army Reserve history. Welcome to the show and good to see you.
Gracias. Thank you so much. And I'm very excited too. I think that your professionalism and your leadership in this podcast really inspire a lot of people, and I'm very honored that you have asked me to be part of it.
Well, same here. Thank you for joining. And let's start with your story. You have an amazing background with, very interesting ancestors. If you want to speak to that and share your story, we can start with that and then talk about leadership after that.
Well, the biggest ancestor that I feel that I must mention is actually my parents. And those parents that give a lot to their children, not only in terms of DNA and heritage, but connect you with your roots that become very important to you to be proudful of. Those roots sometimes are the ones that inspire you, motivate you, and excite you. So being born and raised in Puerto Rico in a humble beginnings in Campo Rico, Canóvanas, a very mountainous area, very close to the rainforest, I never will think or guess that my father, through my dad, who is from Indiana, Vincennes, Indiana, will be related to the Abraham Lincoln family and much more of other families within that connection and other connections. And when I first heard it, I was so excited and I ran to school. I told people, and people will laugh at me and said, of course, you're from Puerto Rico and related to Abraham Lincoln. No way. But the reality is that sometimes you can be an inspiration to other people to look at things that make you differently. And so those roots were very important to me. When I went to college at the University of Maryland, where I was working on my PhD, I went to the library and I looked for a book called From Waldo Lincoln, and it's called The Lincolns. And in that library, I opened it up and I saw my grandmother's name, and right there it says Abraham Lincoln. Then later on, we have Famous King website. And if you Google that, then you go in and look for my name, and you're going to see the entire heritage that brings to the Bright brothers, also to Chantal Miller, the Princess of Greece, and much more famous people. That doesn't mean that gave me money for college. It doesn't mean that created an impact monetarily for me, but it brought for me the idea that if you're resilient like them, you can reach for the stars. And that's what I did and ultimately achieved it.
So was it that realization that inspired you to get on this path and ultimately become a general officer in the army, or was it an additional motivation that kind of nudged you into that direction even more?
You know, Danny, that's an excellent question. And I should have guessed that you will ask questions as such because you're really intelligent. And so what it created in me is a consciousness to understand that I was related to people that made history. And what it created inside in my heart is that I felt like I had something to prove all through my childhood. I wanted to prove them people that said, oh, no, you cannot be related to Abraham Lincoln. You definitely are from Puerto Rico and you don't even speak English at that time. And so I will say that we make our own destiny, just like Abraham Lincoln did, to understand that somebody created so much for our country and it started from humble beginnings as well, inspired me to do the same. I am a product of Las Escuelas de Puerto Rico, the schools of Puerto Rico, and I went to public school and I saw and read many books about history, and not only Abraham Lincoln, but others. And what it did, it inspired me and made me conscious that I can make my own destiny like he did resiliently. You know, he tried many times to become the president and did not win, didn't win even Senate. From failure, we can learn from that. And it really inspired me. Now, of course, looking back, I can say that I didn't set myself to become a general officer. It happened because it was hard work and a resume in itself that speak louder than any opponent that you can have. All the teams of people, because a board have to select you. And so I have a PhD, 3 master's degree, and I'm currently working in a bachelor's degree in theology. And I say that is extremely important to know that you can make your own destiny. And so I did. I set it up for doing my best at every job and let myself shine by performance. And sometimes outperforming because you wanted to showcase that you belong there.
Yeah, and definitely a very inspiring story. But what led you to join the army, the military in general? Because it seems like you're since very young age you were very interested in education and you pursued your different degrees. So what led you to the military,
Mhm.
and how you eventually became a general officer?
That that is in itself is several hours answer, but I will say that the biggest fan that I had was my father. My dad said that women did not belong in the military, and I wanted to prove him wrong. He was my major fan, and I wanted to show him that women belong wherever they wanted to, and that I will not change the way I was inside of my heart, spiritually and physically, in terms of the way I am as a woman, but that the military offered me something that other professions could not offer me. It is essentially a profession of arms, a professional that calls for higher values and for a commitment like no other to put your life in the line for others. I have experienced combat and peacekeeping operations. In both operations, I will say that our military personnel always gave their best at all times. And I will say that for me, it was extremely important that I'll be part of history. And so it called me that spirit of adventure, that spirit of creating your career based on what you like to do. So I came in the army as an I did not know that much English. I have failed the ASPAT test several times. Finally, at the third time, I passed. I don't know how, but I did. English was not my first language. Later on, after I come back from the basic training, I come back to the ROTC program. I become an officer through that program. I realized that the ROTC was teaching me a lot of leadership, how to lead people, because leadership is about leading. Leadership is not about things, and people are human beings that need to be taken care of. And so that I learned so much charismatic leadership, formational leadership, transactional leadership, laissez-faire leadership, all of the canons of leadership that actually Abolio and Bass in 1990 in their research talked about. And so it's very important for us to understand that this career for me was a way to answer the calling that I already felt inside my heart. You know, when you have that fire inside and you don't know what it is, I don't know if that have ever happened to you. You have a fire and you don't know what it is. And maybe somebody here in the podcast is feeling exactly what I'm saying. You have that fire inside and you want to answer it and you don't know. But you join the military, you learn leadership, you learn the skills that you need to learn so you can be professional at any place in the world. And the Army gave me not only that, but they invested in me by sending me to English school. They sent me to DLI and I learned English. And it was not to learn French or to learn German or Arabic or Pakistani or any other language, but it was very important for me to learn the English language so I can be competent in the language, so I can communicate directly and I can give orders without creating chaos. And so I feel that that investment generated inside of me that desire to continue, not leave the military and stay the long run And then history came. Every opportunity that I have, from second lieutenant all the way to colonel and to become a general officer, presented itself with opportunities to make a difference. So I feel that you can make that destiny for yourself by getting jobs that are hard, and you compete with your rest of your peers by showcasing your skills, not only as a leader, but also as somebody that want to make a difference and want to care for people and want to make a difference in the nation and will put their life in a line for them.
And you probably developed your own unique leadership philosophy as you went through the ranks and had the chance to lead many people and overcome challenges and difficult situations. So could you speak to your leadership philosophy or how it came to be, if you can share that with the listeners?
I will tell you that many times I come up with things that will be scholarly so I can write them in journals and so on. But the simplest one is something my grandfather taught me. And my grandfather only had eighth grade, and he was from Puerto Rico, born and raised. And he was a businessman on his own. And what he did, he taught me that success equal desire and opportunity. But listen to this. You can have all the desire you want, a lot of desire, but you don't get an opportunity. What's happening? You can be successful. So you need that opportunity. And what do? You sit down and wait for it? My grandfather said, no, you make it. And that is the difference between coming with different heritage or generational gaps in how we think things. And for me, I think that I will create my own opportunity. So success equal opportunity and desire. Making that desire stay even through resiliency, and then multiply by motivation. And if you're motivated and you have the desire and you can create that opportunity, you will be successful. So that is my formula. Success equal opportunity plus desire, and you multiply it through motivation. Through that formula, I've been able to apply it in different settings in my life, but also I also believe that we have to have a vision board, something physically that we can look. And for me, mapping it out with having children or taking them for vacation, having a life outside of work. And of course, I work hard, become a workaholic by trade, but having the time for children and then now for grandchildren is extremely important, because if that time is not given to you back. And I have many regrets too. I spent a lot of time with the military and doing a lot of deployments and stuff, and I was not able to be with my kids as much. That opportunity presents itself differently as a grandmother. And my goodness, that's such a fun opportunity to do. But if you think about it, if we take the time to address things not in a vacuum, but balance our life, we are able to do and accomplish anything we want. And so one thing that we can do is grabbing a notepad and writing your story. I will write, this is 1990. I was in combat at that time. When I got out of combat, that was the Gulf War, in a tank division called Third Armored Division, led by General Funk. I will come out and I will write, after I get out of here, I'm going back to college. I want to study international law and politics and things like that, so I can go back and work in diplomacy, because I was interested in that at that time. And so I will write what I wanted to do and each aspect, how I make myself diverse into my destiny. Also having time for pets, like you're showing right now. I have 4 dogs and they require time and love. And the more I spend time with them, I actually learn so much from them as well. So everything that we do, once we have a vision board or we create that semantics of what we want to do and when we want to do it and map it out, you put it with a pencil, because things and accidents can happen. You can get sick, somebody can get ill, like my mom had breast cancer, and I had to stop what I'm doing or deal with it at the same time that I have my other commitments, and make sure that I'm not letting any of those balls fall off from the chart that I'm putting myself into.
Hmm.
So I think it's a metrics. It's a metrics of things that we need to be thinking of and creating for ourselves, but also what is the important thing in life. And I think that is time with people. And the more I think about it, the more time I have with others that I can inspire and can motivate them to be more of what they're coming here on earth, what is their purpose. And a lot of time people don't have that purpose. If you don't have that purpose, you cannot assume what are your goals and you cannot write them down. But if you can write it down, then guess what? You're probably going to commit to it because you believe it. And if you believe it, you can achieve it and you can make a difference. So like that, I think.
Yeah, yeah, great advice. And you mentioned General Funk. He was on the podcast as well. And he, as well as many other of my guests, they often mention mentorship and having great mentors to be something that helped them with this journey and leadership development. Did you have mentors who affected your life in that way and helped you along the way?
Absolutely. I have several mentors. One of them was in your podcast as General Burgos was my mentor, helped me a lot to see certain things that I needed to learn from, and I learned. From there, I learned Lieutenant Colonel Jose Rivera. He taught me the importance of the Judas context in terms of people that can hurt your career willfully or not. And sometimes you deposit a lot of optimism in people, and he taught me a lot, and I learned a lot from him too. I also learned from the soldiers that work with me, the people that make the day-to-day very easy for us to do the work that we do as general officers. But I think it is peers, colleagues, senior leaders that impress you and you want to be like them. But sometimes your mentors are not the ones that you seek. They seek you out. And I have Major General Robert Smith that I hope that one day you can have him here in the podcast. He is amazing. He's a two-star that retired, and I met him, and immediately we connect. And he said, sir, I would like you to mentor me. And said, guess what? I was thinking the same way. I would like to mentor you. And so you connect with people that impact your life. That mentor taught me a lot about finance, how I take care of the units financially, how do I understand how Army works logistically. He also taught me the meaning of working with rivals, just like Abraham Lincoln talked about the team of rivals. Sometimes you have to work with people that you don't really enjoy or understand. One of them was a general that was a female that I was so impressed with her because she was a West Pointer. And I learned a lot from her as well because of the factor that she have a lot of knowledge from the West Point, but her personality didn't jive with mine. However, you got to put that in your side and bless them as well and contribute to their glory and how they're going to continue moving forward. She went to become a two-star. And you learn also from mistakes that other people place. They mentor you as well. But I had, when I was in RTC, I remember not only my peers, but cadre that really make a big impact in how we took care of our uniforms, to how we did land navigation, to become like infantry and run and exercise and be more than we can, be all you can be at that time for me. And that really inspired me to be all I can be and more plus. And that was Colonel Sanchez, Angelo Sanchez, Major Maceda at that time, Mairo Maceda, and so many other people like Arnaldo Claudio, who is an amazing leader and have worked in Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican government helping Puerto Rico to become better. There are so many people that have mentored me in different ways. Also, mentors like my son Andrew. He mentors me every day in becoming the best parent I can be and the best grandmother, and my husband grandfather he could be, because they're the ones that are taking the things forward. We're retiring, we're moving, and so every day we are learning from mentors. Like you, for example, if I get the fearfulness out and I do my own podcast, I will say that you helped me to achieve that, because then I can see that I can also do it just like you do. And that it's not lightly. It is showing that we can make a difference and send messages out there to inspire and motivate people, because people need it today more than anything. So if you're thinking right now, who can mentor you? Just think about the factor that who can you mentor? And then go out there with the thought process that you're going to mentor somebody. And you can be in the restaurant, for example, getting something, a meal or whatever, and a waitress or somebody start talking with you and they say they would like to go to college but don't know what college. And all of a sudden you tell them, hey, what about Walden University? They have a great program for counseling. Or really, you can do it online. What about Strayer University? It's also online. You can do it. And so there are many, many ways to mentor people. And there are many ways that you get mentored because sometimes you learn from others as well. One of the areas of mentoring that I think is important is empathy, to have empathy with others. And that's something that sometimes we don't have the emotional intelligence for, and we have to learn it. And sometimes we don't get it. Military personnel oftentimes are in a job for combat or peacekeeping, and most likely it's going to be combat. And our communication style probably is going to be very direct. That doesn't get kosher with business people sometimes, but sometimes we just got to talk straight to the information and cut the cheese and move forward. And so we have learned a lot from the U.S. Army War College, and I have been very honored to be part of their foundation to make that school the best of the best. And if you ever want to, you go visit U.S. Army War College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and you will see how wonderful the military personnel are learning not only emotional intelligence, but also to understand the battlefield, how the battlefield works. And that's beyond mentoring. And the Army have a program for mentors as well, and where we are learning from our peers, from our colleagues, and also for senior leaders. And we have also 360 where we learn about personality. I'm an ENTJ. That means that I'm highly extroverted, I'm intuitive, I'm a thinker, and I make fast decisions. That's great. But if I make fast decisions, I'm not listening to everybody. So I have to learn that sometimes I have to hold back my decision making so I can listen to other people, including points of view that I don't want to hear or listen. And the idea about leadership is to have followership as well. And so there were some lessons learned that I learned from Abraham Lincoln to study their history that helped me a lot in becoming a general officer. And one of them, and I wrote some notes for myself here, is to embrace change. See, Abraham Lincoln was very notorious for his ability to be in time frames that were very difficult and very complex, especially during that time on our American designing history. As a leader, you need to be open to change, and that's extremely crucial, and that is non-negotiable. Learn to work with change. I have witnessed through my military service where adaptability can mean a difference between success and failure. So you can be successful and finish your assignment, but what difference do you make on other people? And that's extremely important. So embracing new ideas, new concepts, guiding your team to the transactions of change is essential and very crucial. The other point that I wanted to make about mentoring and also what I have learned from Abraham Lincoln was the courage to have integrity. And sometimes we say, hey, well, how can you have courage and have integrity? Well, it go by hand in hand. You have to have like very strong thinking to continue to integrity even when things are going wrong. Lincoln led with profound integrity, making decisions that prioritize for the greater good. That means that it could be external things that are facing in externally in your life, challenges, or standing for your own values, or even your thought process. And it's hard. But you got to trust that you're building a foundation that honesty and ethical decision making is important not only for yourself and you identify with that in your image, but also your name. And so if we don't follow that courage and integrity, our name is linked to things that are not courageous and not in integrity. So we got to maintain that namesake. The other portion that I wanted to bring to light was empowering others. That's something that I learned not only through Abraham Lincoln's way and how you can empower yourself, but if you don't empower others, you're not really empowering yourself. Because the art of delegation in leadership is extremely important. So I have learned that leadership involves empowering others. Whether you're in the Army or any other field, you need to inspire your team, to encourage the team to become innovative and to accept a culture of growth, to create things within all the forms and skills that they have and bring that into the table. So leaders foster culture of growth and innovation. Without that culture of growth and innovation, we cannot maximize ourselves. And I give that to my family heritage, the Wright brothers, even Amelia Harright, that also I'm part of that heritage. And the Wright brothers are my eighth cousins, and they exemplify their collaborative desire to make a spirit of flying and that innovation they carry through history. There's two more points that I wanted to make, and then I'm going to close. But I wanted to tell you that we got to celebrate our ancestry. This is beyond our diversity. Our ancestry really addresses our history. The grandparents and grandmothers that made the history they did to what they could at that time that was hard and tough. We have to understand that that is extremely important. Today, I'm the first Latina that is a general officer in the U.S. Army Reserve. I know it is important for our heritage and leadership and the history, but what it brings together is the perspective of the backgrounds that leads a richer dialogue of more innovative solutions that people like me can resonate with a familiar tree of life that where the principles resonate with a strong family tree and includes, for example, the Crown Princess of Greece, that's my 12th cousin, and Miller, that remind us of the heritage that shape our vision. And I think it's very important to know that we can make a difference beyond our heritage. And that difference celebrate history, and we're making it every day. Last thing is service to others. Like you're doing a service to others. By this podcast, you are allowing voices to be heard that will serve other people, especially to inspire them, to connect, and to feel that in the overall world, they can make a difference as well. So the heart of Lincoln's legacy and mine as a military leader, we're putting the needs of others first than mine. And for example, listening to their concern and working together to create a positive outcome really are elaborations that make us and guide us through life in a success pattern, but also in service to others. And I believe that, those areas are extremely important. So in recapping, I just want to say that we need to embrace change. We need to have, second is courage and integrity. The third is empowering others. The fourth is celebrating your heritage. The fifth is service to others that make a difference in the tapestry. So these are lessons that I have learned that have guided me and hope to inspire others to embrace leadership and also to a community of integrity and passion in serving other communities. For example, today I'm doing a bachelor's degree in theology, and I have learned a lot from the scriptures, not only in Christianity, but all these other religions that are so important as well. And that makes me even closer to the human fabric of our own heritage that makes us diverse, but also challenges for us to have more intellectual and emotional intelligence so we can relate to each other. I feel that it's extremely important for us to learn from history and also for us to make a difference every day, as little as it could be. Even stopping for a second and talking to a stranger can make a difference to a life and can make a difference on people in where they want to be or how they feel at that moment. I give you this impression after I come back from combat. Combat is so beautiful in Hollywood, but it's not the truth when you are in combat. Now, I was in a tank division as a second lieutenant at that time, and I have Command Sergeant Major Hill, and he was amazing along the side of General Funk, the father of the other General Funk that you have on the podcast. And so I learned from them. I saw how they made decisions. And when they made decisions, they were thinking for the common good. They were not thinking about themselves. And that makes a big difference. When I make a decision or when I'm thinking about making a decision, I'm always thinking, how is this going to impact? What's going to be the risk? What's going to be the benefit? And how I can make a difference here that will last. And when I do that, every time, knowing that this is for the greater good, making a difference that is going to impact a lot of people. At the beginning, there might be some people that don't going to like it, and they're going to be your troublemakers. They don't want to accept change. But some after they see the good it brings, they come on board as well. And I learned that from the book of Rivals, that was written about Abraham Lincoln, where he got people that dissonate with him in ideas or thought process, and he put them together because by hearing other people that think differently, you can make a big difference in your decision making and also creates collaboration.
Yeah, well, extraordinary advice. Thank you for sharing all this. And once your future podcast is live, I'll make sure that I'm link it to this episode. Maybe someone is listening 6 months in the future and you have a ton of episodes on your channel. So I'll make sure to link it once it's out. But amazing advice. I appreciate you sharing all this and then, sharing your story as well and motivating other people. I'm pretty sure that a lot of it will resonate with a diverse group of people. So thank you for coming over and for sharing your
Well,
story and all this.
I wanted to say one more thing. If you are listening to the podcast or you're watching, I wanted to ask you to challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to be the best version of yourself. If I did it, you cannot do it. You can do it at all times. Success equal desire. Desire. You have to have the desire, but you also have to have the opportunity. And that you find yourself, but then you multiply it with your motivation. You can do all things. And if you don't believe that, open your scriptures and know that there's a God that will make that happen for you. I'm really excited about being in your podcast. I hope that this is inspiring a lot of people. I know that I'm inspired by you, somebody that speaks different languages as well, like I do. And you can hear my accent. And sometimes when I get excited, my accent gets in the way and my English is not as awesome, but that tells you that we have an accent. We come from different cultures and different languages, but we make a difference, including we make history. And so everything that we make, let it be for the glory of God. And that's what I always feel that is important to me. And I thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to be here. And I look forward to seeing other people coming in. I'm a subscriber to your channel now. And I will say that there's a great book by Paulo Coelho. He talks about El Alquimista, the alchemist. And if you can get your book right away, there's also another book called The Warrior of Light. And it opens your mind and your consciousness to be a warrior of light. And it talks a lot about the things that I just said in a few minutes ago. So thank you for having me again in your podcast. I'm very excited. And thank you for spending time with me.
Thank you for sure.